Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at Brewmasters, the monk tank in Mists of Pandaria. We're going to take a quick look at their glyphs, talents, and skills. I'm also going to have a small run through a dungeon at the end of the video to show a demonstration of how they tank and what they actually use to tank, because when you pick up a monk, you'll first take a look and be like, well, I only have 8% dodge and 8% parry. Right, well, your skills are what's going to be giving you your dodge and parry. So let's take a quick look at some of these skills here. Now these skills look a little overwhelming. Try to stay with me here. It's really not that bad once you get. These are pretty much all of the main skills that you're going to be using, and I threw in Zen Sphere because it's a nice little addition to tanking. Blackout Kick, you also get it in tanking as well as DPS. It's a kick with a blast of chi energy, dealing 27,000 to 36,000 physical damage. The reason you use Blackout Kick in tanking is because it also causes you to gain something called Shuffle, which increases your parry chance by 20% and your stagger amount by an additional 20% for 6 seconds. This is pretty much your filler when on single target bosses, especially. You really want to try and keep it up as much as possible, so getting chi back and using it on Blackout Kick is quite important, because as you'll see in this video, I got it up to 28% my dodge, or my parry rather, sorry, from like 8%, so it's kind of a big deal. Moving over to the right, Dizzying Haze. You hurl a keg of your finest brew, reducing the movement speed of all enemies within 8 yards by 50% for 15 seconds. Deals a high amount of threat. This is actually pretty close to a taunt, and it's actually very nice. I like to play around with it. There is no cooldown on it. It's on the GCD, so you can throw it, and it only costs 20 energy. So I hope they don't change it, because it's very nice. It's a very good addition, and I like playing around with it. I like throwing kegs. Affected targets have a 3% chance to have their melee attacks misfire and strike themselves for 17,266 damage. That's very nice. You want to keep this on your target as much as possible, and doing so, you also can use Keg Smash. We're going to go over that later when we get to it. Fortifying Brew, we'll go left here, turns your skin to stone, increasing your health by 20% and your stagger amount by an additional 20%, and reducing damage taken by 20%. It lasts 20 seconds. This is a cooldown, and it is on 3 minutes, so you want to use this when you take a high period. There's a high period of damage. Going to the right here under Dizzying Haze is Elusive Brew. Increases your chance to dodge melee and ranged attacks by 30% for 1 second per stack of Elusive Brew. Active, consuming your Elusive Brew charges. So you get this while you're fighting, you use skills. Same thing with your DPS, same thing like with your Mana Tea. Same kind of thing. You use it to dodge more. You want to try and keep this up as much as you can. I mean, really, you can only use it so much. We'll go to the left here. You get this as well in pretty much every other spec. Expel Harm. It's a nice heal. It heals you, and it does damage to the person that's closest to you within 5 yards. And it generates 1 chi, so it's always nice. It helps you no matter what you do, so it's always nice to use. It's a great heal. To the right here is Breath of Fire. You breathe fire, causing 6,945 damage to all targets in front of you within 12 yards. If Dizzying Haze is on the target, they will burn for an additional 27,782 damage over 8 seconds and become disoriented for 3 seconds. This is very nice. I can't stress enough how very fun this is to use, and how very useful it is in almost any situation. It's a nice dot to put on things to gain additional aggro. To the left on the bottom there is Summon Black Ox Statue. You summon a Black Ox statue at the target location, lasts for 15 minutes. Only one Black Ox statue can be summoned at any time. The Black Ox statue interacts with you, your provoke, and leer of the ox abilities. And it also has a passive. So every time you deal 216 damage, the Black Ox statue will cast Guard on an injured party or raid member within 40 yards, absorbing 43k damage for lasting 30 seconds, or whichever comes first. The effect cannot be cast onto the monk, so it doesn't affect you, but it affects your party or raid members. So that's very nice. As a monk, you're doing a lot of damage, so that really comes across, and I see it a lot in dungeons. I see it working very well. The next to the right is Guard. It is very important. I use it off cooldown, and every Brewmaster should. Anyone who's tanking should use this because it's perfect for mitigating as much damage as possible. Guard. You guard against future attacks, absorbing 43k damage over 30 seconds. Any heals you apply to yourself while guarding are increased by 30%. So if you do heal yourself while you're guarding, it's 30% better. And let me tell you, when you're doing tanking with the Brewmaster, you'll definitely realize that you heal a lot, and you have a lot of things that can heal you. I'm going to go over to Zen Sphere because this also ties into that. Right above Keg Smash, we have Zen Sphere, and you may know this if you do any DPS or healing. It is a talent. You get this from talenting, and I'll show you the talents after this. You form a Zen Sphere above the target, healing the target for 11k and dealing 9k, I'm just making it a little easier for you, damage to the nearest enemy within 10 yards of the target every 1.86 seconds and for 16.75 seconds. Only one Zen Sphere can be summoned at any one time. If Zen Sphere is cast again while active, the Zen Sphere will detonate, dealing 21k damage and 21k healing to all targets within 10 yards. This is amazing. I cannot stress how much help this is. I've crit for over 100k with these Zen Sphere detonation heals and damage. It's very, very nice. It's good for tanking. It's good for DPS. So I highly recommend that you take this and you look into it. Under that is Keg Smash. You swing a keg of your finest brew, dealing 27k to 36k damage to up to 3 nearby target enemies within 8 yards. Also, haze applies, I'm kind of losing my thought here. Also, drenches the target in your dizzying haze and applies the weakened blows effect, generates 2 chi. It also applies, so dizzying haze, it just tells you right under it what dizzying haze does. And it also puts weakened blows. It demoralizes the target, reducing their physical damage dealt by 10% for 30 seconds. So that's a nice addition. You can use that, and that actually is a better thing to use instead of dizzying haze itself on a boss single target, because you'll generate 2 chi, and then you have more time to use your blackout kicks to keep up your dodge and parry rather. I'm sorry, blackout kick does parry. So let's go take a quick look at the talents. Some of the talents here. I'm not gonna go over them one by one. Maybe I'll do that in another video. But right now we don't have that much time to go over them. So I'm just gonna show you a quick look at what my talents look like on my Brewmaster. So taking a look at these talents, there's nothing special. The biggest thing about talents in this expansion is what really works for you, what is going to work for you the best. It's more personal preference rather than what's good, what's the best. So really take the time to play around with this. I love the tiger at level 90, so that's why I picked that. Nothing really seemed to suit me for what I wanted to do, so I picked these talents. So I'm not going to go over them. Maybe in another video we'll go over if somebody would want me to go over them. But as of right now, these are my talents and they're going to stay that way. Okay, while we have the time here, let's go take a look at our glyphs. Glyphs aren't really anything special in Mists. There's not a lot to most of them. Some of them do some extra things and some of them give you skills, but most of them are just stuff to play around with, nothing super big, nothing you really have to worry about for too much. So right now I'm just going to show you tell you the three glyphs that I have and show you these. These are the three major glyphs that I have. The minor glyphs are nothing special, just little tiny things like Zen Flight that allows you to fly, like sitting Indian style kind of thing, just little fun things that you can do. Here I took these three major glyphs that I feel that I want when I'm tanking. So, Glyph of Breath of Fire. When you use Breath of Fire on targets afflicted with your dizzying haze, they become disoriented for 3 seconds. I like that. I'll show you the video. I know you can see it in the background, but I'll play through it for beginning again so you can see it and do some commentary on it. You'll be able to see that I can chain that quite often, and I think that's going to get nerfed. If it doesn't, then, well, I don't know what to say, but it's definitely, you can do that with players as well. I don't know if there's diminishing returns on that, so don't quote me on that, but I can chain NPCs with that skill. Then I took Glyph of Leer of the Ox. It teaches you the spell Leer of the Ox. Your ox statue stirs hatred in the target, reducing their movement speed by 50% and causing them to attack the black ox statue for 8 seconds. So it's basically your statue is taunting. I haven't really seen it work too well. However, it does work. So it's kind of like an extra taunt. If you lose aggro on something that's important, or you need to pick something up quick and you can't get there quick enough. So it's nice. It's a nice little extra thing to have. And then Glyph of Stone Skin. When you use Fortifying Brew, all bleed damage is taken is reduced by 20% while active. That's just a little extra thing. I tried another one that just didn't really work out for me, and this is just extra damage reduction if there so happens to be a bleed on me. So that's fine with me. I can take that. Other than that, that's the three major glyphs, and the minor glyphs are nothing special. Just a little thing like Glyph of Jab that allows you to always use your fists instead of weapons, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and dive into this video, and I'll do a little commentary of what's going on and show you kind of what to expect when you jump into a Brewmaster in Mists of Pandaria. So starting this off, you'll realize that there's a warlock here, and actually we had a person leave, and I had to ask him to take away his Void Lord because he had a Void Lord pet, and that kind of would get rid of the whole point of the video. So he did take it away, which is good. I believe he ended up dying during a boss fight. I don't think he got in the room. But as you can see here, I have the flames on the targets. That's kind of my thing when I go in and there's AoE. I always just throw the kegs. Like right here, you'll see me throw it. And then there we go, and just the fire. I love the fire, it's fun. And these, you really don't have to worry about aggro too much, but there I threw up Zen Sphere, and then I'll pop it here in a second. And then it does damage to everything and heals anyone around me. That's good for melee, because melee do take more damage most of the time than your casters do. So here I wanted to note, I did not put this in the video and I should have. It's kind of too late to go back now, but Spinning Crane Kick, you can dodge and parry while using it in Brewmaster. So it is viable. I was thinking to myself, well, you know, it's kind of like a channeled thing. It's not really channeled, but you can't do anything. It's kind of like Whirlwind. You can't do anything unless you have a stop cast macro or literally right click it. So I was like, well, am I still gonna get hit? Can I dodge, parry, or whatever? And in the tooltip it says you continue to dodge and parry while it's active. So it's actually very nice for AoE. You don't have to use it. You know, it's an option, it's there. It's not the best thing to help get you aggro, so I wouldn't really rely on it too much, but it's still nice to have because, as you saw, it's like there's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to be able to pick that up that quickly, so I just spinning crane kick and I managed to pick it up. Small things like that that just come out of nowhere very quickly. It's really nice to get a small amount of aggro, but pick it up very quickly, because a lot of the times when things spawn like that very quickly, you can do something small and get aggro. So here's the start of the boss. I'm trying to do my blackout kicks to keep that up on him, and I set down my ox statue. Sometimes I forget that, and it's gonna take a minute to really sink in that I have to put that out. But see, it's already putting shields on people. Since I'm doing damage, I'm doing over 235k damage, it puts a shield on somebody. So that, I think that is a rogue. That rogue now has a shield on him from me just doing DPS. And I'm trying to keep that Zen sphere up, because it does heal me constantly. So it's kind of like I can put a hot on myself as well. I'm using a lot of, I kind of experiment a little bit with a lot of different things, because it's kind of an experiment time. All the buttons seem very fun to press, so I just kind of press them. But for the most part, you want to keep your blackout kick rolling. You want to make sure you have that extra parry, and keep, you know, dizzying brew on if you can. And it's still kind of new to me still, so I'm still trying to really get into it. I mean, I literally just got into beta last week. I won the key from, I don't know, I guess you could say it was more of a giveaway. It wasn't really a contest, but I've always wanted to get into beta because I've always wanted to do beta tests, and I was, you know, but that's another story. So here I'm just trying to move out of the way, trying to keep that Zen sphere up. The DPS is quite low here. I'm actually doing the most DPS, I think, at just under 30k. I think it's 26, 25, somewhere around there. The blackout kicks do hit for quite a bit, so they do give you quite a bit of aggro, so it's always a big aggro boost when you do use those. One thing to remember here is, and this is actually a normal, for some reason at like 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, it's nearly impossible to get anyone in a heroic group, because most of the people at 90 are in sleep, and not everyone has 90s on the beta, so, you know, it's limited. Even queuing as a tank, I have trouble getting into those heroics at that time, and I like to stay up all the time, so I just did a regular and I got in fairly easy. So one thing to note though, when you're doing heroics, you'll notice when you're tanking, your stagger stacks up a lot quicker because things are hitting you a lot harder, and you'll have to hit your, you have to hit your brew more often, because if you don't clear your stagger, you're going to be getting, 9k ticks, and it's going to hurt. That happened to me a couple times. I didn't die or anything, but you really feel it, because when it's ticking for 9k as opposed to 2k, you can really feel the difference. And yes, you can die from stagger. So it's very important. I mean, it's nice that we have a way to get rid of it. And it's a nice... That warlock is dead. Yeah, see, the warlock didn't make it in and ended up dying. But see, now that rogue is just constantly getting that shield. And as you can see, my shield's on cooldown all the time. Always keep your shield on cooldown. I mean, really, if it's mitigation. However, if you really need to, you can save it for something that's for some point in time where you need damage reduction. So it's all about what you feel you should do, how you should play. There should be really there's always quote unquote elitist right and wrong, but in reality it's whatever works the best for you and whatever works the best for, one, your party, or two, your raid group. Just taking a quick look here, watching this go, and there he goes. He was fairly took a little while, but that's okay. And the DPS is, look at him, he still has that shield. And I think, yeah, he left the group too. Everyone was just leaving. We couldn't queue for another person because it said we were in a raid group. Not really sure what that was about. So I'll only show you a little bit more here because we're running on 21 minutes of video time, and I know you don't want to hear me speaking for that long. Once Mist does come out, I will be doing updated videos because I'm sure things will be changing. Of course, things in beta always change between beta and release. So I will be doing an updated video for 5.0 when they do come out. And by then I should know much more about tanking, DPS, and healing on monks, so I'll be able to give you a better insight on how to play your monk as best as possible. Also, I'll be leveling up the monk. I'll probably be leveling up my monk as the first thing I do. I'm not really too, concerned about getting to 90 quick in raiding. I've raided so much in this game that a break from it's fine. Even with the new raids, it's not a big deal to me. So I'll probably level that monk first, so I'll be able to get the good detailed live videos out to you. And there's that shield again and the Zen sphere. I think I pop it here again in a second. I don't remember. Yeah, no, I think it just fell off. I can't remember. Let's see. This next pat here is going to be the last one, and group of mobs, not padded. They just kind of stand there. These are going to be the next and the last ones, but watch what I do with this. Watch how much I can CC them. I'm going to do it again here in a second. It's like, oh, well, you're done. Oh, I CC'd you again here. Watch this. And that is where the disorientation comes into play. It's very useful. Let's just put it like that. And it does work in PvP. I have to try to see if it does work, or if it does have diminishing returns. But I know it does work in PvP because I did it the other day. And let me tell you, Brewmasters are very overpowered in PvP. Any tank usually is, but Brewmasters have just crazy amounts of heals. Well, anyways, thanks guys. That's it for right now. Please comment, like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.